make some noise for our sacrificial poet. Please, put your hands together for the one and only Magpie Ulysses.
Myself laugh audibly. Watch my hands crack with the first streaks of heartbreak. You see, in this dirty port city disguised as a bird sanctuary, I've been building gardens for rich people with poor people's blood. And if I've learned anything at all about working hard labor with hardened men, it's that every day of eking out an existence with a shovel means an evening spent drunk. And tonight, there are men sitting outside the mall, any mall, waiting for the liquor store to open tomorrow. There is no pretty poetry when the snow lifts. I'm not tanned. The only markers I've ever had for my labors are one time a puncture wound on the inside of my left thigh from a rusty nail, and often scars up my forearms from one too many fights with the crown of thorns. In the mall, I watch anorexic ghost women chew the underbelly out from the food court trash. They are spinning, sad and codependent. And on all the TVs in that same mall, all our children are still huffing gas and smoking meth, and these women are still looking for their baby's daddy on Maury. God, grant us all some serenity. I cannot accept this. But you see, one more chromosome and we are a condition. But in this, our constant flux and mutation, some of us become mutilations of something some call God's perfection. But we are conditioned to cope without coping. Our addictions are a straw house filled with broken glass and sunlight and smokers. But we are heart or we are head. We get to build or we get to think, but we're all being curb stomped by our own dualisms. We are no longer together, fission, fusion, body, body, mind, and when we do question, our answers come in separated, flaking lights. And with no Wendigo to take the blame, we are deemed insane, forgiven for the hunting knives in our backpacks. We play faith like a prostitute, because $5 says tonight. Tonight we can pay back our debts, save our fingers from the pruning shears, save our faces from our own fists, save our hearts from the stones beneath our feet we laid with our own hands. So yeah, maybe getting drunk isn't an excuse anymore. But sometimes all you can do to forget your heart is destroy your mind. And at the bottom of this pit we dug for someone else, we are powerless to befriend hope with money. We are fat and we are lonely, and we are waiting for the liquor store to open so we can forget about it.
I leapt when the universe told me to. Still, there are no safety nets, only glimpses of Mantua and a lifetime of banishment. She stopped calling and I'm still leaping, a cartoon character hanging in midair, waiting for the inevitable drop. What was I chasing? A dream? Well, if so, then dreams have angelic smiles and only wait so long. They are duller in the rear view on a road trip to a cliff's edge, and she dared me to drive over. And so I did. And when I awoke, I arose from the smoldering wreck with fiery wings and a little help from her outstretched hand. And as she led me down the street, I remember fresh air, a new horizon on the distance, a sense that I was exactly where I was supposed to be. You see, she was the pinnacle I was trying to reach, and as time slowed down around us on the street, the devil dusted off his snowshoes and prepared them for use. We had red wine and chicken pesto, She said she loves pesto and everything, and it's funny that I remember that. It must be snowing in hell, because I'm not the type that just jumps into rabbit holes chasing magical talking hares with a nice tail and too much on her plate to take me on. My defense mechanisms are much more complex than that. You see, I have this thread, and if I can't string you along with it, then I probably won't look at you twice, and I know that doesn't sound very nice, but hey, that's life. And I guess you could say I had finally met my match. She played the game by the book, and it was glorious to watch the downfall of myself by this queen of stolen hearts. And that's when I woke up, and the fresh air had been tainted with a hint of it's time to move on, and that new horizon on the distance, well, it was clear that I was off to meet Romeo, and the sense that I was exactly where I was supposed to be, well, that didn't change, with the exception of the fact that she was no longer holding my hand. But I was still leaping, that same cartoon character hanging in midair, waiting for the inevitable drop. A punchline.
Someone please remind me why we do this. Why I finally find this passion that we can follow through with, and in the attempt to reach the youth and have my message heard. Poets, y'all are just drug dealers that have a way with words. See, she told me she was moved by my words when the workshop was over. But these poems she writes in class still can't keep her daddy sober. When I try to guide his wrist and I tell him it gets better, but he wants the pen to be the sewing needle to the bullet holes of his older brother's sweater. So tell me, why I should even bother? See, I taught her how to write some crazy haikus, but she still goes home and gets touched by her father. You really think that this finger snapping can drown out the sound of your mother making last month's rent as your knees hit the ground? They said, Patrick, you can't stop bullying, but at least you can say you tried. All I hear is Patrick. He's 13 years old and hung himself with a suicide little rhyme. Don't you feel like we're prescribing Band-Aids to kids with broken bones? Trying to build houses of cards to replace their broken homes, giving spoken poems through broken telephones. They're going up in these glass houses and we handle them to stone. So tell me, what makes us different from drug dealers if all we're doing is selling them these dreams? These workshops, these slams, these hot, ambitious fiends, all willing to try anything that can boost their self-esteem, and we're selling them 2 grams of false hope in the back pocket of my jeans. How could I be pushing kids who were already pushing? See, the drug game comes with more of a financial cushion than poetry could ever give them, than I could ever give them. See, they're not dumb, they've got dreams, and they know they never lived them. See, they hand me all these kids, they say I'll fall through the cracks. My understanding is I'm supposed to grab their hearts and drag them back. But I start to realize the degree of my impact may not contain the force to pave a road, rewrite their tracks. So maybe, poets, we're just here to share the pain. Here to help them find that silver lining and rock it as their chain. Explain the pathetic fallacy behind making it rain. Fill that hole that can't be filled with monetary gain, but be careful. You see, these kids are willing to die for your sound, like the ones who killed themselves for Kurt Cobain. So it's more than just your poetry, but believing in what you say. And this rich and famous nonchalantness is kind of getting old. To get your ass about that fancy car and give our youth some realistic goals. And yeah, you start to realize it's more than just writing poems to put someone besides you first. More than John Lennon and Chick-fil-A t-shirts. More than $1-a-day infomercials and planting trees. More than listening to U2 and quoting Bob Marley. And it's more than your over-articulate, pompous poetry on stages and shelves. Just like it's more than Facebook status updates and retweeting Coney 2012. So please, all you drug-dealing poets want to be philanthropists? Just stop it. Because I want my youth to understand that this success is more than a trending topic. And if you care more about these perfect scores, just know I'm here to change the game. So I guess you can call this me breaking some tens to make some change. Because whether you like it or not, y'all are role models. So you might as well have it done right. And watch them teach these kids how to bring a pen to a gunfight.
And sisters, come poetriots from across our greatish nation, let us, gathered here tonight, establish a new Canada. Swift as a sharpened skate blade, vibrant as new moon Montreal neon, brave as a maritime ice storm, subtle as specters in smoke, patient as that first crop off the prairies, whose plot begins with the birth of the sun, constant as seasonal migration, streaking the sky maps clean. I have a dream. Let us redub the Ministry of Labor the Ministry of Pleasure. Let us turn Parliament over to the Iroquois and stuff bison into Mountie uniforms. Let us grow weed and smoke salmon. Let us keep the peacekeepers overseas, but bring the comedians home. Let us string up caution tape along the border. Death to the American dream! Long live the Canadian nap! Let it be a half hour later everywhere! And the sun go down on Sun Media. Between the evening news and the new evening, let us teeter over the edge before Vancouver does. Let us cancel the credit card Klondike. Let the end of the penny signal the death of money.
Yeah.
Money, now just too expensive. Why not shed all our poisons, weapons, hatred, paperwork? Nation, state your purpose, and I'll take it all back. Or establish a new Canada, disinterested in profit as CBC Radio, but industrious, oh so industrious as a born-again beaver, gnawing our country down to the stump and launching it into the current. My brothers and sisters, the nation awaits your voices. Let us meet the future halfway. It's the polite thing to do.
Ripping up green, building up gray, ripping up green, building up gray, ripping up...
Focus! Have you ever asked yourself what it really means to be focused? Is it to feel still in pursuit of completion?
They keep ripping up green to build up gray. Don't paper cuts send small, stinging messages to all the cubicle dwellers dying to be uprooted? The environment is my only focus.
Beware, to be absorbed in this kind of stillness is dangerous in view of the fact that only when the air is stiff, stretchered, unable to sway. Give way to more forgiving time will worry rightfully set in. Crash into the bases of cause and command hairs to attention.
Pique your awareness. Awaken the well-slumbered responsibility to do more than just exist.
It cannot be said that people are not aware of it in its impending arrival. You know this dead air destruction will ride in on, this twisted sense of...
I am focused.
Yes, but I need him to tell me that he's noticed other things.
Can't you see the distorted image created by throwing perfect spiles of toilet paper into the trees? Imagine a man draped in the flesh of his own brothers. Another yellow decayed photo for Mother Nature to mull and mood swing over. It's like idling with air conditioning on full blast while flooding along with the hose. This is tears posing in the downpour.
So you'd hope that he'd notice that there is guts rumbling with rage and grit. Focus. There's feet caked in shit surviving only to be pissed on. Focus. There's black gold,
gray smoke, politics. There's green bin,
red carpet,
antics, nip, tuck, snap, this, focus.
Their diseased hands helping.
His levees breaking under neglect.
Their diamonds minded under threat.
Farmers cracking under debt.
There is pressure, building under pressure, pressed against temples like loaded weapons. Are you really focused? Wake up! Waves are made for drowning, and that's just what they'll do. But you cannot surf these kinds of waves without above-board attention. It's obvious this shit won't be felt into the still atmosphere.
Takes your breath away, holds it hostage, and suffocates your options?
No! Presents itself as the last droplet of tears to tip past the rotwood till boughs break. Because when the boughs break, we will find ourselves in a place, a time where babies will crawl from trenches of birth with blades between gum and cheek, and he won't notice that it's coming.
It's here. Unblur your magic eye to see the real image without reading between the lines. They keep ripping up green to build up gray.
They're still tearing down families to uphold laws.
They're still playing King of the Hill on a landfill.
They're still shuffling up the arch cars that will build our skyscraper memorials with.
Focuses.
Focusing. Bring this into focus. Blinders were never meant to rest on bridges comfortably, to have eyes converge on one aspect of something to which everything is connected. If you ever need to know what it really means to be focused, focus on the bigger picture.
Yeah! Keep it up, great!
Dear Edith Piaf, the moment you were born in the doorway of some long-forgotten shop, your mother screamed in agony while the pavement was the first thing to hold you. From that point on, life was defined as a Molotov cocktail served in a champagne bottle. Your spirit the bull, your body the china shop. You were blinded from conitis as a child and abandoned into the hands of your grandmother's brothel, where the women sold their bodies in ways that made the devil wince. And as a baby screaming from a lonely crib to the angels up in heaven, they listened in but did nothing. As your voice, that beautiful, God's ways, that mysterious. Soon enough, you were 7 years old. You had heard the girls calling out for a miracle many times before, but for the first time, you could finally see the heavy-caked makeup of the velvet voices of the women who had raised you. It was a miracle under a godless roof, and you grew. A love for the downtrodden, the hurt, and the rejected, because that was the pain from whence you came. And you sang for the lovers who were ripped from your arms, and for the ones that ripped the hearts right off your sleeve and ran away. You sang on bitter days when Hitler invaded France, and on cold winter nights when lonesome bodies were left to go to bed alone. You sang when there was nothing left for you or your country. You sang because you held out hope. So, Madame Piaf, how did you do it? I ask because I have a heart that's grown bark, carved with initials I can't erase. I drink like a fish with a hook in its mouth and nothing to lose. I'm perpetually lonely and kept awake from nightmares of a little boy locked inside of a bedroom with tin-foiled windows, a wet bed, and a heavy-handed shadow man awaiting to play patty cake with his belt. I've learned attachment issues with an obsessive mind, so I'm writing apology letters out of I wish you were here postcards, bottled up as a mixed message, thrown into the rubble of every burning bridge, and hopefully they can read the smoke. Madame Piaf, this is one of those nights when lightning strikes twice out of spite, and I'm left withdrawing into the nervous alien wearing my skin. Madame Piaf, this is one of those nights where I'm trying to pick up the pieces like fall leaves kicked up by a bitter wind with hands so out of touch. Madame Piaf, this is one of those nights when there was nothing left for you or your country, so you sang with the force of 1,000 brass bells, because that's what you did. You sang Song of Love and Hope. You were a woman who was barely 5'1", and life never took you into consideration, so you took the name of a sparrow, and ever since then, a little bird has always told me to keep my chin up on nights like this. So, Madame Piaf, avec tout mon cœur, je dis merci, parce que t'es son chant, mon Dieu. Je vous remercie, Madame Piaf. Thank you for telling me what it's like to hold out hope regardless of the odds against you. Madame Piaf, thank you for telling me what it is like to hold a light in this darkened area we call the world. Madame Piaf, thank you for allowing me to see what the soul can be once you allow it to feel hurt and allow it to feel loved. So, Madame Piaf, merci avec tout mon cœur. Merci, Madame Piaf. Thank you.
Child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. He hides in darkness, disguised as a pile of dirty laundry. In silent hope, no one notices. Knowing these days no one sees more than the dirty clothes anyways, this stowaway. A stone throwaway drifter. A drafty raft on a deep sea of depression. Thoughts cold as winter water splashing. Contemplations of revenge versus redemption. A knife and a wary eye. And then this guy slips in $10 in the coffee shop, crinkled like the old lady's nose who sits near. And even though officers don't patrol this port anymore, things will get brighter. She drops anchor, drowns her anger in a waste paper bin worth of whiskey. Cigarette shields calm nerves that tap dance like river jigs in Morse code, muscle spasm torsos, chewing sickness for dinner. As though there could ever be sustenance in insanity. Sinking into isolation, tripping the breakers in her mental electrical fuse box, confused thoughts revolve around her like a Russian revolver ready to blow. The blow, ready to break her with every trip. Slipping into spirals like so many shipwrecks, this splintered sense of love. And then a hug from
stranger in the doctor's office, and you know, poverty doesn't buy polite from the aging desk clerk, a woman who's never known the death and disease. This child is forced to breathe, robbed by so many white lies and ivory lines. She is left ghosting like a ghost in the fog. And it is hard to find your shine when everyone around you sees nothing more than a discarded penny, as though you aren't worth the 2 cents to tune into the tunes, because you have been turned into a cartoon, and they lack the sensitivity to see that 1 cent, one lost innocent, is a century of pain and hardship. A broken sailboat that never made it into the glass bottle, only bottling up the shame, caged in by glass ceilings, sailing away on a slave ship of society's abandoned intentions, and redemption will always wait for the wicked. Revenge is nothing more than an empty shell waiting for the next crab to claw some comfort. Hope sits like a busted railing on an evacuated temple. There is nothing holy here, nothing to hold you up, an illusion at best, one last mirage, some sunshine on the horizon, and I know despair can be blinding. But I beg you to look. Open your eyes and push for the brilliance that is out there. Push hard like civil rights advocates ensnared in the enemy's lair, like intelligent women pushing for the right to vote, like cancer survivors pushing to change the laws of corporations selling our children, killing smoke. Push hard like war-torn genocide refugees under barbed wire, like a child soldier freeing their enemies, friendly fire. Find your fingers, match, snap, spark. If you still have heart, if you are not done, if you are not dead yet, I know you might be tired. But damn it, things will get brighter when you look at the light.
Okay, you'll have to excuse me, I'm a little stage fright. So I wrote a little poem about it. I have a voice, and if it were my choice, it would be loud, strong, and proud, as I give my voice to the voiceless, the marginalized, and oppressed. But instead, I'm weak, sad, and depressed. Because of you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and all these eyes watching me, observing me, judging me, you, and you.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Why am I so affected of the judgments you make of me as my physiology takes over me, my voice cracks, my fingers shake, what I mean to say I can't articulate? Take away these numbers 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and my voice awakens, becomes eloquent and stronger once more. I'm engaging and debating, I'm loud, strong, and proud. And I know I could do anything I try. No one would ever know that I could be so shy. Who finds that girl? No way, not her. She's so innocent and goofy and confident and driven. I know. Thank you, keep going. Well, the truth is, I'm all those things and a whole lot more, but only in our group of 4. And when you add 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, there goes my voice again. And I sit and I wonder, and I give myself the task of digging deep inside myself as I begin to ask who, what, where, when, why. Who are you and you and you? Who are you to make me feel like my opinion is not valid? And it's not like this crowd is so massive. Who are you to judge me? And I know it's just my insecurity, and I know that you know that I know that we know well. Do I know? What? I mean, what is the big deal? I mean, am I for real? I can't articulate what I feel. I say it loud and proud with the eloquent seal. But only in our group of 4. And when I add 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, there goes my voice again. Where in my childhood did something occur for this to make me feel so insecure? Was I teased by a bully in school, or was I humiliated in front of a crowd and made a fool? When will this fear ever end? You might say, the more you bring yourself out there, the less afraid you'll get, but I haven't seen this yet. Why? Why am I so afraid and my courage just goes away and I'm left wondering, did I just say? As I pass the mic, I take a deep breath as my heart goes back to its regular pace. Now it's all over. The crowd walks out the door. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And who comes crawling in? My voice is back once more. Yeah.
20-something years of living with this body, and I've only just discovered the wisdom and the wonder of my womanhood. ripe and ready as a summertime cherry, pulsing like an ancient heartbeat, pounding like an outlaw drum, moist like the earth after the rain has fallen. My pussy is a universe. Flash shedding crimson every month and starting a new cycle. I have a moon between my legs, illuminating this existence with the kind of wisdom that is not learnt but remembered, the kind of truth that is not spoken but felt. Some say that the heart is the centre of their being. But I see that my pussy is the centre of my being. And you, my love, wonder why it has taken me so long to discover what has been there all along. Try living a day in the life of being a woman, constantly bombarded with baseless bullshit about how my body should be and what my body should do to give pleasure to you. Brainwashed into believing that this body needs to change to be accepted, that beauty is as simple as becoming something you're not. What if I don't starve myself, bleach my skin, put chemicals in my hair, put silicone in my breasts? I am less than the woman I am. I am less than valuable in a system of corrupted values. Ain't I a woman? But I know too many good men who love, honor, and respect women to really give up hope that things will never change. Men who understand that a woman's worth does not lie in the place between her legs but in her mind's billions. Men who understand that if they dishonor a woman, they dishonor the very womb that birthed them, the very soul who nurtured them. Men who never forget the hen that fed them and the woman who bled for them to see life. But I also know too many good men. But I also know too many twisted men who've been sucked into a simulation of hyper-masculinization, brainwashed and spit back out to spit shit at me about how my body should be and the dirty things that he wants to do to me, and because I'm a woman who says no with confidence, I'm playing hard to get. I'm a tease, some sort of seductress, some sort of tantric temptress. And upon realization that he's not going to get a piece of my divine creation, he'll start to front and have the audacity to call me a cunt. Did you know, motherfucker, that cunt used to be a word for goddess, exalted like the sun, and then men like me took this sacred word and turned it into something sick, and turned it into something evil, and our sexualities were held back and our freedom was pressed down, and aren't you tired of fucking for the wrong reasons? Can I get some cunt solidarity? And yes, my love, I'm a woman of the flesh, but don't expect that I will lay with you tonight. Not when I'm suffocating under this heavy burden of being a woman in a world that so deeply favors men. This world where rape is a nightmare that we must live awake. When male powers of domination and control make us afraid of who we are and ashamed of what's between our legs, a world that devalues and degrades and demoralizes the power and the strength of women. And how much of this have you internalized as we lay in this bed together and you tell me that you want me, and how much of this should I let you put inside me as you penetrate? Not just my vagina, but my fears of being dominated and controlled, and I cannot bear this weight alone. So unless you tell me that you will help me carry this weight, that you will honor my fear, that you will not colonize my cunt, then neither of us will be getting laid tonight.
There's a vast difference between a religious child and a child of a religious family. Look, Billy, we got you a new pet dogma.
At an age before the meaning of God can be understood, fresh minds are guilted into a declaration of faith when in truth, children place God in the voices of parents. Enough time will transfer the status to wherever these voices direct.
I was one of them. Someone should have asked me, how many churches are there in heaven before I stepped into a change room no different than the closet I was never meant to come out of, draped in a white cloth, soon to be dripping wet with ideology collected from common taps connected to a history of altered altars. My God!
This is a family trap, one from which a child cannot always escape.
So it must be wrong for me to believe in myself?
How do you undo a baptism? Maybe it's as simple as reading the good book backwards, like spinning back, spinning back, spinning back, black vinyl until Satan speaks to you. What? We can't all be granted a life of religious pacing, given space to do as much or as little exploration among faces we like.
Not a day goes by that I am not thankful for the level of respect given to my right to choose, and I question why all children are not granted this.
Faith is not a thing to be imposed. It is a thing to be discovered.
I believe.
Church is a code word for choreographed movements and choral exuberance.
We'll take the kind that jingles, but we love the kind that folds.
Man.
Why confine miracles to one building on one day?
What? You want me to help you? I'm sorry, I'm Christian and it's not Sunday.
I wonder if I will choose the right religion before the bomb blows below the steps, blowing Holy Mary stained glass to my arteries. The only Baptists know to give sermons on love that forgives, but if there's no forgetting on earth, then religion is the elephant in heaven's waiting room.
What if I made a mistake? Or one was made for me?
Someone much older and therefore more spiritual prescribed some herbal teas to the day. I slipped some whiskey into the mix because no one should go to church sober. You can't undo a baptism, but I take showers every day, shed my skin like a snake and reinvent myself with a memory of my past mistakes.
A pursuit of childhood religion left me with more questions than answers.
Why do we see children dressed in albs and cassocks, swinging incense and stumbling across church rugs made lumpy and treacherous for all the shit swept under them?
Some pushed into an area of servitude in which rape can be considered an occupational hazard. Why can't you see that these non-Protestant protesters are the real burning bush?
Why wouldn't God want me to love, period? Not just the same race, same religion, and opposite sex? I've learned that the closer you get to death is when you want to make peace with God.
As if to say, I know I've been ignoring you for about 30 years, but I still have your number.
And I just wanted to call
to hear you boombox bellow out, float to me, and I will catch you!
If I were friends with God, I'd tell him not to pick up the phone.
God forgives everybody.
I have issues forgiving anybody. Maybe blind faith goes
both ways.
Do something!
Bang! If I had 3 wishes, I would wish for world peace, a jar of jelly beans, and a time machine. Mostly to go back and change the second wish, but also, if I had a time machine, I would sneak a copy of The Great Gatsby onto the Mayflower and watch that ship turn right the fuck around. No better yet. I would sneak 3 copies of the People's History of the United States of America onto the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, respectively, and watch every crewman go overboard. No better yet, if I had a time machine, I would sneak a TV, a DVD player, and a copy of An Inconvenient Truth onto the Titanic and tell them that they won't have to worry about icebergs for long. If I had a time machine, I'd go back in time to shake hands with Jesus. I would tell him all about the atrocities committed in his name, like the Crusades and American country music. No, but yeah, I would go a few years further back and give the Virgin Mary some immaculate contraception. If I had a time machine, every time my boss said I needed that yesterday, holy fuck, would he ever be surprised. If I had a time machine, I would take America's next top model to one of Gandhi's hunger strikes and ask her what she suffers for. I would take the real Kris Kringle to a Walmart and show him how happy he's made children in Chinese sweatshops. If I had a time machine, I would give Holocaust deniers 6 million reasons to believe.
Yeah.
No, better yet, if I had a time machine, I would just make sure that Adolf Hitler got accepted into art school. And Big Mama Cass to go vegetarian, and if anyone ever asked me, hey man, do you have the time? I would say, yeah, I got any time. If I had a time machine, I would heal all wounds. I would never speak too soon, and I would fall in love for the first time every day for the rest of my life. If I had a time machine, I would tell early man to stand up for himself before he finally walks off into the sunset. So as that new day dawns on planet Earth, oh, I'll be a force to be reckoned, because if I had a time machine, I wouldn't waste a second.
Cupid, draw back your bow and let your arrow go straight through my lover's heart for me. Ignorance is truly bliss amongst the rich about the poor, sipping on some cafe lattes while the people in Darfur scream to catch the world's attention instead of bullets to the brain. The people of Kashmir, Afghanistan, and Iraq can feel their pain. Paramilitaries and government troops overtly fanning out to intimidate the citizens who, when submissive, granting clout to whichever faction controls the drug trade, or the opium, oil, or blow. Hack and shoot any dissenters hot to bring the warlords low. Whether we're talking about child soldiers or those trapped in maquiladoras, we're just thankful for the coffee, diamonds, and goods they're making for us, while the people we empower pass legislation we can parse, turning crucial UN resolutions into a bloody farce. So go ahead and call us liberal bleeding hearts, but our hands will never be smeared like their Macbeth-stained parts. It's at the juncture where love ends and hate starts, where we make our stand for peace in our trenches and ramparts. I'll get you out for peace-focused demonstrations across our principalities, territories, and nations. Load up your quiver for hatred's elimination. Time for some action, needing your participation. And may sound militant, but I'm fighting for peace. So pay attention to this poetry, my verbal release. And if you think about it, there ain't no other way to go than to make like Sam Cooke and draw back your bow. Cupid, please hear my cry, and let your arrow fly straight through my lover's heart for me. People in the Balkans trying to assert their sovereignty when their opponents came to storm the American embassy. Independence for Kosovo was voted democratically, but the Serbians weren't hearing it. It simply could not be. Did anybody want more war by the Adriatic Sea or a reprise of the cleansings based on white ethnicity? Because it's not just black people committing mass atrocity that's based on power and vengeance and work philosophy. So don't tell me that it's Africa that's the problem across the board when it is Israel building walls like the Germans have ignored since '89. When it crumbled and East Berliners wept and danced, did they dream of a repeat of their oppressive circumstance? Nah, some of them died so they could give freedom a chance, reignite shattered lives and hope the lessons would advance the global view on what divides us so we could hope for better things, or our amnesia and our apathy. Just look at what that brings. I'll get you out for peace-focused demonstration across our principalities, territories, and nations. Load up your quiver for hatred's elimination. It's time for some action, needing your participation. It may sound militant, but I'm fighting for peace. So pay attention to this poetry, my verbal release. And if you think about it, there ain't no other way to go than to make like Sam Cooke and draw back your bow. So, Cupid, draw back your bow and let peace arrows flow straight through warmongers' hearts for me and everybody like me. Cupid, please hear my cry and let those arrows fly straight through those hate-filled hearts for all who we.
Truthfully, I grew up actually being petrified of ever hearing anyone swear. Having it instilled in me, drilled in me, you just don't use words like that. I was 16 years old before I heard anyone in my family say shit or fuck. And that was when I overheard my mother having an orgasm. I've come a long way since I was just a timid child. Now when the world goes weird on me, I use words gone wild, and I say, super goddamn no good dirty motherfucking asshole. Even though the sound of it just might create a hassle. If you don't like how it sounds, I'll gladly fight a wrestle. Super goddamn no good dirty motherfucking asshole. Mr. Prime Minister makes me so depressed. When Stephen Harper played the song Imagine for the press, Yoko shuddered, oh no, John was spinning in his grave. For me the word that was conjured, Harper's depraved? Yes. Super goddamn no good dirty motherfucking asshole. Feels so cathartic just like when you're passing gas. So say it and you'll feel like you're the king of Windsor Castle. Super goddamn no good dirty motherfucking asshole. I'm the little
Whoa, what if we're in a synagogue or there are children around? What then?
Well, then I just say, super good bleep, no good dirty, mouthy bleeping bleep, although it's not a word that's often heard beneath the steeple. Stub your toe, I guarantee you, every class of people will go super god, no good dirty, mother bleeping bleep, the lady riding 80 tailgating on your ass, the man without a single dandelion on his grass, the man I meet who tells me some of his best friends are Jews, people at a party who have a bowl of mixed nuts and pick out all the cashews, the mother with a baby on board sticker, 5 kids in a van, coffee between her legs, cigarette, cell phone in her hands, the pig who sneezes all over the Chinese smorgasbord, that walking human embarrassment, Toronto's mayor Rob Ford. Super goddamn no good dirty motherfucking asshole. I said it once at school and I got kicked out of
Whoa. That's all fine and dandy, Paul. But can't you say it backwards?
Why, sure. Asshole fucking mother dirty no good Julie Ann who said it once and and it's a classic blooper.
It's true, I saw it on YouTube.
You won't ever be accused of being a party pooper if you go super goddamn no good dirty motherfucking asshole. Feels so cathartic just like when you're passing gas. Whoa, next time you're harassed or someone really fucks your ass, go super goddamn no good dirty motherfucking asshole.
To be a gift, born into this world male, packaged in black skin, is to be constantly reminded that your life is disposable, that it lacks meaning and value and isn't protected by the law. You live with the knowledge that justice is a drunk that will not be served. We, the black gifts, are the first to be accused and the last to be believed. We are the guilty until proven innocent, the aggressor despite the evidence. We are the hoops for which loopholes are made. We are the sambos, the puppets, our value determined by the worth we bring our puppeteers. So dance, Negro, dance, rap, black boy, rap, run, nigga, run. But what about those of us who are regular, who are average, who don't have gifts or talents that the world wants or needs, who are just their bodies, packaged in black skin, stuck on modern-day plantations, being abused at will, and people wonder why we seldom smile and it seems like our looks could kill. We are the ones who put basketballs in our sons' palms before they can walk and only dribble with the hope that they will grow to dribble beyond their packaging. We are the ones that make elevators go quiet, purses and loved ones clench tighter. We are the dare that stare down the barrel of guns, but there is no license needed to hunt us. We are the suspicious packages at the airport or in any store with goods that we aren't supposed to be able to afford, whether in a hoodie or a suit, accused of driving while black in minivans or coupes. We are the black licorice discarded at Halloween, the silhouette used for target practice by the police, the black men who spend their days wanting nothing but to be human with respect and dignity. So this is for every Trayvon, Jaquan, Marcus, Jordan, Dwayne, for every black man considered a nigger despite having a name, for everyone who has ever felt the pain of race, for the empty seat beside a black man on the train. For we are the ones who meet death on cold asphalt, discarded like roadkill. We are the ones, worthless gifts, bodies packaged in black skin that nobody seems to want. We are the voiceless. We are the ones.
When I lost my breasts to cancer, I wondered if I was still a woman. My bouncing globes of sexy star culture were sacrificed to lab cultures of gender betrayal. Cold drinks stung my exposed sternum. I could see the floor when I looked down, but I could still glimpse heavens when I raised my head. And at night I howled and I held myself very much like a woman. When I lost my hair, my brows, my lashes to chemotherapy, I wondered if I was still a woman. See, the waiting room pamphlets, they don't point out that you lose follicles everywhere. Body sent back to youth, moon-faced smooth. False lashes fall off without a natural lash line. I called my sister sobbing when they fell. So much is lost through a naked head, so I wore a lime green afro on St. Patrick's Day and lines of coal around my eyes so people would recognize my point of view. Look better, feel better, they said better was who I used to be. So they gave me boxes of makeup to make up for worst, and every morning I painted my goddess back on and I prayed that things would get better, very much like a woman. When I lost my period to platinum for 1 year and 56 days, I wondered if I was still a woman, night sweating decades into the sheets. I dreamt I was a barren egg, rebirthed sci-fi Matrix style, and I woke wondering if I was anything at all. I worried I'd never be satisfied, very much like a woman. Now, when the blood, when the hair, when the breasts returned, well, I wondered if I was still a woman. Did plastic parts count? How much hair turned the tides back to the moon? It was puberty revisited. My monthly misery was a gift and then swiftly a curse again. I spent 2 years Beckett style waiting for boobs. And after that surgery, I swore they would not be a pinup centerfold, they'd be a gallery mural. Because parts are only parts. They aren't foxtrot definitions, and I rewrite worlds all the time, so even my heart can be removed surgically as necessary to lay in the right hands. See, I am not sugar and spice and everything nice. I am not pink ribbons and elite weekend charities. I am not tits and tail and stale stereotypes. I may accessorize with the jeweled crosses of 2X chromosomes, but I am a woman because I am.
Yes.
Erin, mother, daughter, lover, shape-shifter, saving my life one breath at a time, just like everybody.